Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the Witch's Cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today's video is on what I'm going to call the Magickal Trifecta that's going to be occurring on April the 30th. There will be a black moon or she moon, new moon, in most of the US and in Europe, etc. Additionally, there will be a partial solar eclipse, and from the evening of the 30th of April through the evening of May 1st, it is Beltane, Walpurgisnacht, the Night of the Witches, and it is Samhain in the Southern Hemisphere. So at the time of recording this, we are heading toward the full moon that will be occurring on the April the 16th. And we're already starting to feel the energies of the solar eclipse that is coming on the 30th. Now, you can feel eclipse energy a month prior or up to 6 months after the actual eclipse itself. We all stir in the cauldron the fact that we still are in the energy of that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction through May the 11th during this time. As I've said in most of my videos, 2022 is just going to be a storm of energy. And the energy of this she moon, I'm just going to refer to it as a she moon because that's what my trad calls it. The eclipse and the Sabbat of Beltane / Samhain, depending on whether you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere, it gives us a little bit of really beautiful energy and a little bit of a respite from the show that's been going on. Now, I'm going to just throw a little bit of a caveat out there, is that part of the US and Northern America already had a she moon back on March 31st because that new moon occurred before midnight, where I am on the East Coast of the United States, and in Europe, it occurred on April 1st. So a she moon or black moon can be the second new moon within a calendar month, or it can be the third new moon within a season, which is determined by your solstices and your equinoxes. This particular she moon is a calendar new moon. Okay, so during a new moon / she moon, your magical workings are usually related to like initiating something, productivity, creativity. This one is particularly attached to the other world and the Fae. So especially in the northern hemisphere, if you are celebrating Beltane. So be sure to leave an offering to the Fae. Fresh cream, sweetened butter, honey, ale, mead. They like good food in general. And they also like really pretty, shiny, brand new coins. So you can just leave them a little something out in your garden or in a green space, or your front porch, your balcony of your apartment, wherever you can, and just leave them a little appreciation, and it will come back to you, okay? New moons are also a great time to reclaim your power and gain clarity on life's purpose. And especially this one where you are called to ascend to your higher self. Now, solar eclipses occur during the new moon phase when the sun and the moon position at the exact same degree within the same zodiac sign. So, what happens is the moon passes between the earth and the sun, and it temporarily obscures the sun. There will be a partial solar eclipse on Saturday, April the 30th. And in general, eclipses shake things up. They are a kick in the pants to get you to take action, especially with regard to relationships. And I'm not just talking about like love relationships, I'm talking about familial relationships, your relationship with yourself, learning to love yourself, and with friendships, relationships at work, things of that nature. People whose sun are in fixed signs, in other words, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, can really be affected by the Taurus Scorpio eclipses. Now, leading up to the 30th, there are other energies at play. On the 25th, Mars will be semi-square to Eris in Aries. So this is, a very reactive alignment. Throw the moon into the mix when it enters Aries on the 27th. This is a lot of warrior energy all wrapped up within just a couple of days. These are building up to Pluto moving stationary retrograde on the 29th. So Pluto will be magnified during this period of time. Whenever a planet moves to station, whether it's stationary direct or stationary retrograde, that energy is magnified. Now, Pluto is linked to power, and it's in Capricorn. So this is about the abuse of power. So there could be some major assertion of power happening around this time, kind of an extreme kind of thing. Or else our light bulbs will come on, and we as a collective will understand that unless we take our power back, that society will never change. We will never evolve out of this never-ending pissing contest. I've always said that you have no right to bitch unless you are willing to be part of the solution. So if we in general can control our actions and thoughts and feelings and keeping them in those higher frequencies of love, light, compassion, then we can affect the energies going on that are on those lower frequencies of despair, war, conflict. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to get demonetized right off the bat. So with Pluto moving to station, it's going to bring a lot of secrets to light. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio is the ruler of the South. The South Node is in Scorpio right now. And this is about deeply buried, long-held sexual and financial secrets coming to light. Add to that the energy of Jupiter Neptune conjunction and unveiling, it can almost seem like things are coming apart at the seams, okay? That it's being rendered into shreds. This may make more light bulbs come on in society as a collective about their views of, the way the world has been run and what a new way of doing things might look like. And I'm not saying completely, anarchy or anything like that. I'm not. I'm talking about a shift to personal power and personal autonomy, and society taking that back rather than just going with the flow and allowing others to dictate things to us. We also have the solar eclipse occurring in Taurus at 10 degrees 28 minutes of Taurus. It begins at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the US, which would be 11:45 a.m. Pacific, and 6:37 p.m. in the UK, which would be Greenwich Mean Time. Now, this partial solar eclipse is only going to be visible from parts of Antarctica, the southern tip of South America, and portions of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. And I will try to put up a picture up here, and so you can kind of see where the path is. It's not going to be, unless you're in Antarctica or the very tip of South America, or sitting in a boat somewhere out in the middle of the ocean, you're probably not going to see this partial solar eclipse. The maximum eclipse will be at 4:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the U.S., 8:41 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, with the eclipse coming to an end at 6:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time and 10:37 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Now, if you do happen to be in parts of the world where you could see this, it will only cover a little bit over 50% of the sun, the moon will. And so this will be the first of two solar eclipses during 2022, with the second one coming October 25th. There will be a total lunar eclipse occurring on May 16th, and I will have a separate video on that as it gets closer to that. This is big new moon energy, with that she moon amping things up, throwing in the energies of Walpurgisnacht / Beltane / Samhain, depending on what you celebrate and where you are in the world. Don't forget to set new intentions about what you want to manifest in your world and for us as a collective. Now, this is really beautiful, feminine, creative energy around this new moon. And don't come to me about gender. I'm talking about energy, okay? The sun and moon will both be conjunct Uranus at 14 degrees 32 minutes of Taurus. And this highlights the North Node in the sign of Taurus. Uranus is a planet of awakening, the higher mind, and the future. And Uranus is that disruptive energy that jumps us to a new vision, a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things. So this is us thinking about what is our vision, what would we like to see for our earth and for nature, okay? Uranian energy is never gradual. It is like getting witch slapped, okay? It's a jump. it's a shock to the system, okay? So with it also being involving Taurus, there is a greater focus on getting back to basics, growing your own food, getting more involved with and being more thoughtful about where your food comes from, how it's sourced. Um, and it's also gives us clearer vision to be able to look at things from a different perspective, from with a set of fresh eyes, okay? If we imagine an earth of abundance where no one goes hungry, where no one has to decide between buying food and paying the rent, then we'll all get to a better place quicker. I think there are going to be continued issues with the supply chain. So people like me, I have hydroponic gardens. I've got several of them set up, various places in my house. I also have container gardens on my deck. I have a very small yard, so I don't have room for a big garden, but I do have room for like containers for various kinds of, taller plants like tomatoes and vine plants like cucumbers and pole beans and things of that nature and cantaloupes. So you can do something like that. Even if you've got a balcony, you can do a little container garden. You can get you a little hydroponic system, and start something with microgreens or lettuce or something like that, okay? Or herbs. I have one set up for cooking herbs. I have one set up with lettuces and microgreens. I have a setup with just cherry tomatoes. I have a setup with various things that I can use for tea blends, and I have a setup for medicinal and magical herbs. So, in addition to what I have on the deck. So, I think more people will be making those kinds of decisions about their food and where it comes from. Taurus is also about safety and survival needs, okay? So keep that in mind. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and she is in Pisces. So at the solar eclipse, new moon, she moon, Samhain, Beltane, Walpurgisnacht, there is a triple conjunction between Neptune at 24 degrees 33 minutes, Venus at 27 degrees 55 minutes, and Jupiter at 27 degrees 57 minutes in Pisces. So Venus is boosting that power of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction and adding in love and harmony into that conjunction. I have a separate video on that. I will try to remember to link it in the description box, but you guys know I suck at remembering to do that. So if I forget, sound off in the comments and say, yo, Paula, you forgot again. So this alignment is also taking us to that whole new level, the ascension, taking us to our higher selves. Venus entered Pisces on April 6th. But we feel this conjunction the strongest the last week of the month. This is about bliss and transcendence. It's a very, very loving energy and a loving alignment. There are 4 planets in Pisces during this time. Mars is also there at 11 degrees of Pisces and 3 planets in Taurus. So this is really a focus on peace and harmony. And I'm talking, your personal peace, your personal harmony. What brings you joy? What brings you bliss? What makes you happy? And that's not to say that there's not going to be a-holes out there in the world just jerking things up and making a fool of themselves. And there can be very aggressive, explosive kind of energies going on during this period of time. But if you stay in that, mindset of love, bliss, compassion for others, we can change the energy, and we can change, the more that add to this collective about taking the power back and putting that loving energy out there, we can bring about change for the good of all. We have to get over not only, wars, but realize that people are allowed to have different opinions. You can agree to disagree without just flaming at each other on social media and leaving shitty comments, doing videos back and forth. This one sucks. No, this one sucks. Just stop. We don't all have to be little mindless drones who aren't allowed to think in a different way. Having those differences between us are a beautiful thing. It's not something to, point out and, oh, you suck because you think blah, 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 blah. And that's not the case. Try to understand the viewpoints. You don't have to agree with them, but try to understand where other people are coming from. And don't engage in the bullshit and the petty nonsense, especially on social media, because it doesn't accomplish a damn thing except make you irritated, right? It's kind of like having a rash. That's what Twitter is. It's a rash of society. So this year in general is going to be a wild ride. And we're going to go crashing into 2023. And we're going to be glad that 2022 is over by the time we get there. You have to put your focus where you want it to be. Do you want to be in a more peaceful, loving place, or do you want to stay in fear, being controlled, feeding into the division, and instead of understanding each other, saying that you have to think my way, you're wrong, da 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 da. It's a lot more conducive to having humanity involved to be able to understand and respect differences rather than to try and force someone to comply with you and everyone think the same way. Seek out like-minded folks. Okay, stay away from the toxic crap. Stay in your bliss. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay centered, and really focus on this beautiful energy of manifesting from this she moon, the solar eclipse, and Beltane Walpurgisnacht, Samhain. Okay, Beltane is a beautiful energy. It's a creative energy. Walpurgisnacht is the night of the witches. This is when we come into, our power even more. Samhain is a time where you're getting ready to go into some respite, to be reborn and transform into something better down the line. Okay? So with that, it's really important that I continue to say, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light. Stay in those higher frequencies, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.